Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We've got a lot of crypto news to go over today. We'll also be looking at XRP's price chart, and let's go ahead and just take a look at the general crypto market first. You can see it's pretty much mixed. We've got things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, XRP, Solana. They're down, but then you've got TRX, BCH, XMR, Hype. They're slightly up. It's more or less a mixed bag for the day. And then we've got a post from Ripple, their official Twitter account. They say, "Meet Ripple Mint, a uniformed platform for institutions to access, mint, redeem, and manage RLUSD. Built for scale with both UI and API access, Ripple Mint gives institutions the flexibility to automate stablecoin operations, integrate RLUSD into existing systems, and manage digital dollar liquidity across chains. This is available to existing RLUSD users today, which is absolutely huge news. This got a lot of attention in the last 24 hours. And also from Ripple's ID, the institutions in Ripple's orbit now touch over, get this, $152 trillion in combined assets. DTCC, BNY Mellon, Santander, Franklin Templeton, Standard Chartered, CIBC, DBS, custody funds, cross-border rails, all circling Ripple's networks. And the Fraternal Order of Police, the world's largest organization of sworn law enforcement officers, has endorsed passage of the Clarity Act. The endorsement removes a key law enforcement objection tied to Section 604, a provision Senate Democrats, including Warner and Cortez Masto, had linked their floor support to. So we're more likely to see this getting passed. We have some additional news to talk about this in the video too. The Blockchain Association, Crypto Council, and Digital Chamber are urging the Senate to consider the Clarity Act. There's some disturbing news to talk about. This is happening over in Japan. More than 30 trillion yen wiped out of Japan at market open. Yen reached 164 per dollar, and interest rates will hike 3 times in 2026, as per the Bank of Japan. Oil has spiked above $100. Yen, bonds, and stocks crashing together. This never happens. Bank of Japan just threatened, quote, bold actions to save the yen, while Yuta warns they can invoke Article 589 of the Civil Code. That would be pure financial Armageddon, capital controls, frozen accounts, markets locked. The world is not ready for what's coming out of Tokyo. So we'll keep an eye on it. It's not great news. People are mainly going to be watching what's happening over the next few months. I believe leading into October for that. And massive Google search now describes XRP as the world's bridge currency. So that's really cool. And I believe this is being generated by the AI for the Google search results. But still, world's bridge currency, that label's pretty cool. XRP Ledger unveils new developer grants. XRPL Commons has launched a new 3-track grants program to fund developers, startups, and establish applications building on the XRP Ledger. The initiative includes incubators, milestone-based grants, and migration support for existing products. RippleX said the program expands resources available to developers building across the XRPL ecosystem. Ripple says more than $550 million has already been invested into the XRP Ledger ecosystem since 2017. And from Vincent Van Code, I should say, in my last update, it looks like Clarity Act will not pass. But Democrats who have not publicly announced opposition are 33 out of 45, and only 12 had said no openly. Those other Democrats are younger, hungrier, do not have banking buddies, and are doing their jobs, being the voice of their constituencies and representing them. 60 million people hold crypto in America. That is one of the largest interest groups in history. It's happening, guys. It will be the biggest surprise, and a lot of people who just one-line post, "it's cooked," will quickly delete their posts. I don't mind, we all have opinions. The fundamental difference between me and others is my view is FAFT based. I neither live in USA or, quite frankly, have no financial gain other than a few grand, but I have honed in on a skill over the past 30 years trading all sorts of stuff. I know how to tell when something is undervalued. And XRP and likely XLM, Cardano, Ethereum, and Solana are grossly undervalued because of regulatory uncertainty. This is not financial advice, but FFS, put your boy emotions aside and think like a man. Weigh up the facts. It's the difference between staying poor and being well off. Emotions, attachment, are a curse. A friend once said to me, don't ever get attached to anything you can't walk away from. Still holds after 25 years. Lock in. And from Bank XRP, Kansas is quietly turning into an XRP hotspot. First, KU Jayhawks put the XRP logo on all their jerseys. We saw a previous post from Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple. He had mentioned that. And now a Kansas-based RIA, SRH Advisors, just disclosed $156,000 in Franklin's XRP ETF in a fresh SEC filing. Coincidence? Maybe. Vibes? Immaculate. The XRP ledger is sitting at number 4 in the RWA League table. $4.1 billion in real-world assets tokenized. 364 assets and counting. And listen up, XRP Army, connect the dots. Japan just moved crypto deeper into its regulated financial system. Now, Yuto is warning that Japan's Civil Code Article 589 could put serious pressure on foreign borrowers who depend on constant refinancing through Japan. At the same time, Ripple and SBI Holdings have spent years expanding XRP-based payment and digital asset infrastructure across the country. And 589 just happens to be the XRP Army's favorite number. Coincidence, or is the timing telling us something? And from Bird, Ripple has just built the infrastructure that allows institutions to mint, redeem, and manage RLUSD through APIs and automation instead of relying on a manual process. That might not sound exciting to many, but this is exactly how banks, exchanges, market makers, and fintech companies actually operate. Yes, this is not a flashy announcement, but it's the back-end infrastructure that institutions need before they can use a stablecoin at scale. What I find even more bullish is that Ripple is not treating RLUSD and XRP as competitors, they're building them to work together. Ripple literally says XRP will increasingly be used alongside RLUSD for liquidity, settlement, swaps, collateral, and payments. People keep asking if RLUSD can have the same effect on XRP that USDT had on Bitcoin. It won't be the exact same story because they're solving different problems, but I think about what happens if RLUSD becomes one of the leading regulated stablecoins for institutions. Every new company using RLUSD creates more liquidity, more settlement, more payments, more trading, more DeFi activity, and more reasons for capital to flow through the XRP ecosystem. Ripple is also anchoring this expansion around the XRPL EVM sidechain, which means they're still building value back into the XRPL instead of abandoning it. This is what I've been saying for years. The utility phase is not just about XRP going up because people are buying it. It's about building the financial infrastructure first. Once institutions have the tools they need, the usage follows. Most people only look at the price charts. I'm looking at what Ripple is actually building. That's where the long-term value for XRP comes from. And from XRP Voice, Democrats are officially in the room with a counter offer. So you have Senator Ruben Gallego just confirmed Democrats are actively writing a counteroffer to the ethics text. Despite the loud rhetoric, his exact words are, "We are still in this fight." The final crunch. The counteroffer lands perfectly on the desks of Senator Thom Tillis and the White House during their final showdown today. The 10 required Democrats are not killing the bill. They're actively negotiating the final trade to drop the 2029 sunset loop. The ultimate weekend grand bargain goes live. Let's see if this actually plays out. And just in, Leisure Capital Management disclosed a $206,000 position in Franklin's XRP ETF, 16,745 shares, filed in its second quarter 2026 13F HR with the SEC today. So that's pretty cool as well. And now, just speaking a little bit on the price movement of XRP, we are sitting below $1.10. It's down about 2% on the day. We're currently seeing where we were for prices basically going back here on July 17th. So about a week. We just lost all that gain over the course of the last 3 days. Not much on Wednesday, but yeah, Thursday volume was pretty high. Volume here, not so much, but mostly on the sell side. And then more than likely, we'll see a little bit of flat action going over the weekend. So as you guys can see as we zoom out here, it's more or less looking like it's getting thinner and thinner, right? You got a pretty big dip that took place here up to June 16th. Then feels like it became a little bit more wider, I would say, not as straight vertical down. And then after that, look at this, starting to flatten out a tad bit. We'll see how this plays out, but if it becomes really thin and moves sideways, be very cautious, guys, because this has a big opportunity to go one of two major ways. It could either make a significant climb up to $1.40, which is ideal, or worst case scenario, we're looking at a crash below $1, heading down to the next Fibonacci zone at 87 cents. Not financial advice, just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Share your thoughts with us down in the comments below, and that's what I got for you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys, and thank you to my Patreon and my YouTube members. God bless. We'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.